Okay, folks, we're going to go ahead and get started here at 7 o'clock. Great turnout tonight. Thank you all very much. It was a pleasant surprise to see this many of you come out in the rain and stuff. Bunch of people were here before I was, so I'll go ahead and introduce everybody. Larry, WD4IRW. Wilson, N4ZQT, and please interrupt me if I screw up. Bobby, KB4QNR, and that cap there. Porter, KG4GTK. Roger, KJ4YSY. Glenn, AK4HA. Linda, AK4GZ, the better half of that pair. And David, KB4ESN. Thank you all again very much. Brad wanted me to remind everybody, now probably most of you are going to stay for the bars meeting, that the guy from Louisville Weather Service is supposed to give a very special program tonight at the bars meeting. So if you weren't going to stay, you may want to consider staying. February being an even-numbered month means we eat over here. Does everybody still want to eat at the barbecue place, Willie's locally known barbecue? Any objections?
Which Thursday?
Well, let's see here. Let me bring up my iPhone, the calendar on my iPhone. We've got, see, Thursdays are the 7th, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. So the 14th is Valentine's Day. How about the 21st? How does that work for people? Check your calendars if you got them.
Works fine for me.
Okay. You're actually not going to be out of town, Porter?
I'm not going anywhere till July.
That'd be nice.
Well, yeah, but I'm stuck behind a computer and then turn revenue code.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're getting into your busy time of year. So we may not see you at the March and April meetings.
No, I have to get a little free time to get the cobwebs out.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's just say the 21st then, 11:30 at Willie's, and it'll be on the club calendar with reminders coming out and so forth and so on. Bobby, you want to talk about the net and possible change? I had a guy at dinner ask me about that. I said I'd have to. Bobby's in charge of that.
Well, I think the suggestion to us was, if I got this straight, that on Tuesday nights at 7:30, I think the Versailles group had been having an Aries meeting. Now I think they're going to move their Aries meeting to like Wednesday night or something when another club has their Aries meeting, so that the Aries people can follow each other. So that the meetings for the 2 or 3 counties are right there in a row, I guess.
Okay.
So what they told me was that would free up the 7:30 slot on Tuesday, which we have an 8 o'clock on the 7-6 machine, the Traders Net and the newcomer Traders Net that Dodge usually run.
Yeah.
Which has, been going for a long time.
Is that 8 or 9 o'clock?
And that's at 8 o'clock, so a lot of people check into that. So if we wanted to do our simplex deal at 7:30, the thinking was we could probably get it all done in 30 minutes, and we probably can, for the most part. And then if people wanted just to jump on over and sell something or check into the Traders Net, they could do that. So.
Okay, so instead of 8 o'clock on Thursdays, you're saying 7:30 on Tuesdays?
Right.
Same frequency?
Same frequency.
Okay.
I don't see any reason to change our frequency. I mean,
Okay.
it is a calling frequency in a sense, but it's not the primary. It's not 652. It's
Right.
not the primary. It's an alternate frequency.
Yeah.
So.
Back in the days of crystal control, a lot of people had
Right.
crystals.
And it doesn't-
That isn't relevant anymore,
Right.
but
So it's really
okay.
not that big of an issue.
Okay.
So,
Now, does anybody have any, concerns or major objections about that time? Is that a problem for anybody to switch it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we can start it tomorrow night.
I mean, this was just a suggestion made by another ham, you know.
Okay.
I forget who, even someone had checked in and told me about the other group's net and that their intentions were to change, you know, starting in February to move their net, and that would fill the slot up. So
Okay.
it's up to you guys. I mean, if you think that we need to move it because we might be inhibiting something else,
Sure, we get more people.
you know, but I don't know that we'll, you know, I don't know if that means we will get more people. I don't,
Well,
I don't know what it means.
Well, let me ask you just out of sheer curiosity, did somebody say that Thursday at 8 was bad for them, or?
No.
Okay.
I just think, maybe there was a net at 8:30 somebody had
Yeah,
or
there's
something.
something
There
going
was
on.
one at 8:15.
Okay, was that
8:15.
Winchester?
Yeah, there was one
Okay.
at 8:15
Well,
somewhere,
Winchester's
but I
is
can't
at
remember
8:45.
Where it was.
See, theirs is damn, because they always check into us, theirs is 45 minutes after ours.
Okay.
I don't know who has an 8:15 net.
Does anybody remember?
Does anybody know whose net it
I
is?
was thinking it was Winchester's.
No, theirs is 8:45.
Yeah, there was 8:45, but there was somebody now that was talking about the 8:15
I'm
now.
just saying, if you could get it on at, a different time, that some of those people that were in that net would like to join us, is what I heard.
I don't even know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know of an 8:15 net. Has anybody got the ham newsletter with them? Because it lists all the nets.
Okay, yeah, and I don't follow it.
Has anybody got an iPad or something with them?
Yep.
Where they could look up pull up the PDF file of the newsletter?
It's not on the newsletter, I looked for that also.
Well, usually he had the club's nets listed back there.
Well, it still does, but I didn't see an 8:15.
I haven't seen it on there.
Oh, yeah, oh, I see what you're
I
saying.
didn't see
Yeah, I don't think,
an 8:15 one on.
I don't think there's an 8:15 net, to my
Mhm.
knowledge anyway, so, but we can move.
It was just one of the guys that was telling me that, he said, well, I check into the 8:15 net.
Okay.
It wasn't even anybody in the KY-QRP group, I don't think.
Okay.
It was just made on the air at one Thursday night, you know, that was a suggestion made, so
Okay.
it didn't matter to me, because I could call the net either night.
Okay. Well, and then then also it sounds like everybody's available at either time.
Yeah. Now Thursday night,
so-
you've got that Winchester net. Now, and then you've got that wide area net at 9 o'clock. Now, that's, you know, Winchester pushes that a little bit because they start at 8:45.
Yeah.
And then you go to 444.050 for that big wide area net. Of course, it may be 9:30 or 9:40 before they call your call letter section for you to check in. You know,
Yeah.
that's one of those.
Yeah, typically have like 50 check-ins.
Right, that's one of those big nets. I mean, you
Yeah.
may be there 30 minutes before you're even asked to check in
Yeah.
on that net, so.
Okay. Well,
Vote on it, or what do you want to do about that? Just say, we don't really have rules, do we?
yeah, that's a good point. Plus the fact that, well,
Just try and see what happens.
I was gonna say, post it to the Yahoo group, but really I think within here, we've got most of the people that check in. I mean, you could make the case until we really understand why we're moving it, that we really shouldn't move it.
Yeah, I mean.
But, the other side of the coin is, everybody seems to be okay with either time,
Yeah,
so.
You could investigate.
I think we just leave it for Thursday night, and then
Okay,
I want to find out who the club is on Tuesday night to make sure they indeed are moving.
Yeah,
Now, I don't
okay.
want us to plan on showing up there tomorrow night, and then people say, well, we had this other net going on this other, well, it'll be another frequency anyway.
yeah, okay. So, what Linda's saying is maybe we could figure out what this A15 net is on
Right.
Thursday, that they say that we're,
Yeah.
that we're
So-
we're too close to them, so,
Well,
okay.
since we don't really know exactly, why don't we just have it this week again at Thursday at 8 o'clock, and maybe by next weekend, we'll know who we're dealing with and what the actual situation is,
Yeah,
and we'll just post it in the Yahoo group if we if we start on next Tuesday.
Yeah, we can change it at any
Yeah.
time, so, okay.
How about
So
that?
that's the way we'll leave it. We want to try to understand what we gain by moving it
Yeah.
before we
I mean,
move
I
it,
didn't-
okay?
I don't think we're holding anybody back from checking in where we're at, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Because I
okay.
don't think there is an 815 net.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's everything on my agenda.
Oh, cool.
But how about, kit building, in fact, just throw it wide open, kit building, antenna work. I know it's winter, but,
Roger, I spent the day working on the SDR
okay,
kit, that TXRX ensemble. And I can't believe we spent 2 days just inventorying parts. We're still not done. We're close to the end though.
Now, does that kit come to be built for any of the bands you want, and you have to sort out the right parts, band specific for a certain
You
section?
specify what you want, and that, there's 4 or 5 little parts they send you that are different.
Right, okay. So you
This
have to
was-
be careful to select the right values for the
Right.
band you're gonna set it up
It's
for.
20 and, one we got's 20 and 40.
Okay,
Now they offer that with 20, 40, and 13.
13.
13 meter shortwave broadcast band.
Make it 30.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, because there is a 13 meter
There's a
shortwave
13
broadcast band.
Shortwave,
Yeah,
Yeah.
20 and 40.
Oh.
Got something else between it besides 13.
that's all right. It could have been. There's a possibility there.
Well, I don't know if Glenn told everybody or not, but while I missed a couple of meetings there, we got our Pixies running. And our problem was, we was trying to operate it off of too low a voltage. They told us it'd start operating at 7 volts and to run it off of about 9 volts. And we found out that if you don't run it up to about 10.75 volts, it won't work.
Start.
And so we've been piddling around and checking and doing everything when all we had to do was just increase the voltage.
So
got
it
a lot of
wouldn't
good-
oscillate
got a lot
until
of
you
good,
got the voltage up. The oscillator wouldn't run.
Yeah, it was, it just wouldn't do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And
you
it made
got a
all
lot of-
kinds of weird
Got a lot of good
noises.
Easter egg you know done on
Yeah.
for
And,
practice.
then I built a little, side tone for QRP radios,
Okay,
made off of a, 555. And all it takes is, about, 3 resistors and about, 3 capacitors. And found out that you had to be real careful of the voltage with it. It'll start operating at about 3.6 volts, and you can go up to about 3.8 volts. If you go any higher than that, you'll mess your 555 up, or it messed mine up, so I just didn't go any higher. Runs real good at 4.5 volts, which would be 3.
3 batteries,
well,
yeah.
3 AA's.
Yeah, and those can even come down a little bit, you still be okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that works really well. It's simple to put together. I put it together on a breadboard and worked really well. So it kind of tickled me that it worked the first time. Then when I put it on the project board, I couldn't get it to work. So I come to find out that I had missed one of my solder joints and hadn't even soldered it. So I got it soldered and it started working.
So speaking of soldering, you guys are gonna start soldering on this SDR kit then, pretty soon? Okay.
If we ever get through the inventory of the parts.
Okay, so you've worked on the inventory for 2 days and you're still not done? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just about, we got 4 different parts that we, 4 more parts we need to identify, and that's all.
Okay.
And, we were working right up to the time, go look down, Lord, it's 5 o'clock, we better get going, we won't make the meeting.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because you gotta be at Cracker Barrel at
Right.
5:15.
Are you using his online instructions where they show the parts and how they're marked and the colors and everything?
You know, Bobby, I printed out all those things, and when I started printing on them, I got about that thick, I mean, about 3/4 of an inch thick on printing those things out. And I got to looking at them, it was just a whole mess of repeats in it, you know?
Well, when we built the 40 meter one, which I gave to Charlie and it did work, he's got it running. And
What I was gonna say about though is that at that, I still hadn't printed it all by then, and so I just decided to use the online stuff.
Well, that's what we did. We never
Yeah.
printed it. We just we had a computer there in the by the workbench, and we just would refer to the screen, and then
Right.
we would go right to
So
the board.
that was a couple of years ago, you
But
know,
everything is so tiny,
yeah.
Oh, it's minute.
tiny.
That our biggest problem was reading the values of a capacitor.
You need a stereo microscope on
Well,
those to
you've
look
been
at
about to, we got a big old magnifying glass and one of those headsets you can put it on and magnifying glasses in addition to all that, get all that together, get out of there. And sometimes we still had awful trouble.
Well, I think when I did the parts identification with the magnification, and Mike did the solder, and we used the clamp circular magnifier, with the fluorescent bulb, but he also used the visor. He pulled the magnifier with the light down there, and then he still wore the visor as he looked through both, so he used them in
I didn't.
conjunction with each other so that he could do it. So
I had so much glass on there, I could hardly see through it.
yeah. He caught paper on fire trying to.
I believe that.
Okay, folks, anybody else with kit building, antennas? How about operating? Anybody worked any good DX or anything? I did not know that that the league has something called QRP DXCC. And like our miles per watt contest, you don't have to have QSL cards. And I sat down, I don't watch the Super Bowl, okay? So I sat down last night while a lot of people were watching the Super Bowl and I went back to my log starting in the beginning of the year 2000. Because that's about the time when KY-QRP 1.0 started and I bought a 40 meter MFJ and started doing some QRP operating. And I have 76 countries worked
Cool.
on running QRP. So a lot of you might have more countries in your log than what you realize. So it's something to think about. And you send them $10 and your list of your contacts with your dates and stuff like that, and they have to be in order and everything. And you get a nice certificate for QRP DXCC. And then there's a guy, but they do not do endorsements like the regular DXCC program. But there's a guy that maintains a website that where you can send in, when you go beyond 100 countries, you can send it in. So there's guys with 300 and some countries worked QRP. So it's something to think about. You might be closer to that than what you think, especially if you operate contests. I've been operating a lot of contests QRP. They typically have a separate category for QRP operation. So you're still dealing with the strong signals on the bands, but you're only competing with other QRP stations. So
Chris, do you use QRP spots?
no,
.com?
never have.
Okay, it's a great site, and those guys in the four-state QRP group, I think they maintain that. But in all kinds of QRPers will post people from other countries, what time they heard them when they worked them, what their call is, all that, the frequency, that constantly gets updated all day, and as long as people are working QRP stations. So.
Okay, so it's QRPspots.com.
Yeah, QRPspots.com.
Now, do they encourage self-spotting? I mean, is that okay? Do you know whether that's okay or not? Like, if you want to call CQ on 40 meters QRP, can you just put yourself?
You can put on there that KU4A is listening on 7.122 in Kentucky or whatever.
Okay.
If they need Kentucky, then somebody may call you.
Okay.
Or if you want to get out and say, that you're just you're operating on a certain frequency, you can do that. Yeah,
Okay.
you can-
So self-spotting's okay.
Yeah, self-spotting's okay as far as I know, because I've done it before.
Uh-huh.
Nobody ever said anything about it.
Okay.
And also, they have, if you go to their website, they have this newsletter called the QRP Banner,
Four State QRP.
Banner. And it comes out every month, and it's always got a review and a build article and maybe an antenna in it. There's about 3 good little technical, and maybe a story.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's about 7 or 8 pages, PDF file, color, and there's always a kit, an antenna design, a circuit. There's always a couple good little things in there to be had for free every month.
Yeah,
So-
I know a guy that has written for them. A guy lives out in Kansas or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're, I think it starts October 4th and 5th, they're Ozark Con. Their big QRP ham fest, so to speak, or convention out there in Branson is I think it's April the 4th this year. So
Uh-huh.
it's on their website too. So that's coming up. If anybody wants to go to Branson and do all that, you can play radio and see a show and the whole deal.
Right.
We found a program called LTSpice. Big y'all already found this.
No, tell us about it. I haven't heard of it.
Okay, it's I happened to download version 4 because I was watching it on YouTube, and that's what the guy was using. Since then, I Googled and I found that there's one version 8 that's designed for, primarily focused on hams. Anyway, it's a circuit, testing circuits where it draws schematics for you, you could draw them and change values and see what happens, measure current. And
It's a
Oh,
simulator,
okay.
Chris.
Oh, wow, man.
It's a software
It's free.
circuit simulator.
Uh-huh.
Open source said it's free, and I just started playing with it today, but it looks to me like it's gonna be a real valuable tool.
Oh, man. And tell me again the name of it.
It's LT, the company's LT,
Linear technology.
Linear Technology.
And Spice.
Spice.
Okay.
Well, SPICE is an acronym for simulated it's like a CAD program, but it's a schematic, electronics.
Okay. So if you Google LTSpice, all one
Oh,
word,
yeah.
you'll get it? Okay.
Take you right to it.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not Spice. But if you go on there, you'll find on YouTube, you find a whole bunch of program,
Tutorials.
it's telling you, tutorials, thank you. And there's a manual online, so you can get that too.
Okay.
You've got a parts bin, like you can drag a resistor over to the grid, and then you can grab a capacitor, and you can set the values, and then, you know, you can literally design something and test it.
And watch it blow up.
You can pull up the scope, and you can see, you know, you can watch and make sure the amplifier's working before you physically go to build it.
Well, that's excellent. In the early days, that software, they'd charge you $500
Yeah,
or something
Yeah.
for a program like that,
Ten-
yeah.
They go all the way to $10,000, you know, some of them do.
Uh-huh, yeah.
But I guess somebody saw the value in that, an electrical engineer saw the value in that.
And there's an open source PC board layout too, that if you actually wanna
Okay.
have a circuit and have the trace designed and all.
Do you know the name of
I
that
don't
one,
know the
Bobby?
name of the PC board one right offhand, but I've seen it on there.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to make their own circuit boards, it's you can do it.
Yeah, anybody finds any more good stuff like that over there, let me know.
Yeah, well, don't ever hesitate to post to the Yahoo group
Yeah,
with that kind of
I do
information.
too. We just found it early today, and then we got right into working on the,
Yeah, well, and it's easier, for something that takes a while to describe, holding it for the meeting's good. And then, people that aren't here can watch the tape and hear your comments about it. Some people don't like to type. I learned how to type, and I type all day, so, okay.
That brings me to one last thing I did want to mention was, I saw where Glenn had got on Google Plus, and, if we get more of us on there, then we can do the Hangouts.
Yeah.
And then we can literally have a online conference or show and tell, or, we can get on there and get help from each other about our projects and while
Yeah.
we're working on them, because I've already been doing that with a couple other guys for quite a while now.
Yeah, like we've been saying at the meetings, by all means, when you get a chance, get registered for Google Plus. I mean, I don't use Google Plus for anything else.
Right,
But I just make sure I'm registered so
Yeah.
that we can do this hangout thing sometime.
All you
Okay.
need is a Gmail account, and you can sign up for Google Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a Gmail address, you can do it now. If you don't, it's free to get a Gmail address.
Okay, folks, it's 7:25, so I'll make one last call for anything else anybody else, anybody has, and if not, then we'll wrap it up for the month of February and see everybody at Willie's on the 21st. Thank you all for coming.